to the channel. Winter is coming, and today we have another Winds of Winter primer. This time it will be the characters wrap up video. So this is 23 characters that weren't covered by our Great Houses videos up until now. These are some extremely interesting characters on here. So I'm going to give a quick one sentence on each character, just so we've got a rough idea of what's going on with these characters rolling into a Winds of Winter. And let's start with Thoros of Myr. So Thoros, last time we saw him, he was not willing to revive Catelyn Stark, Lady Stoneheart, so Beric Dondarrion did. And Beric Dondarrion is believed to have given his life force to Catelyn Stark, so therefore we're not expecting to see Beric Dondarrion again in the Lightning Lord again in Winds of Winter, but we should see Thoros of Myr. We believe he is still with the Brotherhood without banners. Talking about the Brotherhood without banners, let's talk about Gendry Baratheon. Now, last time we saw him, he was at the inn at the Crossroads. He is the smith there, and he was protecting the orphans. Now, he still does not know who he is, but we do expect him to have a role to play in the Winds of Winter. One person that might have an idea who he is Davos Seaworth. Now, he was last seen leaving the Merman's court. That's right, he was released from prison after finding out that potentially Bran and Rickon were still alive, and he was basically given a mission by Stannis to recruit help in the war against the Boltons, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job at the moment. He will definitely be a character we'll be seeing in the Winds of Winter. He has a big part to play, maybe in the Great Northern Conspiracy. Bronn up next. So Bronn is a thorn in Cersei's side. Now, with Cersei having her issues with the High Sparrow, he's been put on a bit of a back burner, Bronn. But now that he is Lord Stokeworth after that very interesting accident, he is now in pole position to cause Cersei a lot of issues going into the Winds of Winter. I do believe we will see more of Bronn. He may not be as big a character as he was in previous books, but I think we will see him again. Maybe not in the Winds of Winter, but maybe A Dream of Spring. Let's see. Next up, the Mountain, Sir Gregor. So, is he still alive? Now, he was poisoned by Oberyn Martell. We heard his screams throughout the Red Keep. Qyburn was given the duty of trying to keep him alive at all costs. Now, many of us believe that was successful. Who is the Mountain now? Is he Sir Robert Strong? I believe so. I think we shall see the mystery giant knight again many times in the Winds of Winter, because he seems not to leave Cersei Lannister's side now, and he has been devoted in silence to killing all of the enemies of House Baratheon. Which brings us on to the Hound. Now, last time we saw the Hound, he was left presumed dying of fatal wounds. Now, we believe we may have seen him again. Is the Hound the Gravedigger? I think so. And I think we will see the Hound again in the Winds of Winter. Where is Mance Rayder? Who is Mance Rayder? But where is he? Well, we believe he has been captured by the Boltons, unfortunately, during a daring raid to try and save Arya Stark, who unfortunately wasn't even Arya Stark, it was Jenny Paul, who did escape anyway, but unfortunately it looks now like Mance Rayder has been captured. He is still in the north, and he is prisoner to the Boltons, we suspect. Talking about prisoners, Jenny Westerling. We believe Jenny is on her way back to the Crag, to her father, as Jaime decided in his benevolence to release her and give her a few kind of conditions on, it's a conditional release, this one, that she is not to marry within 2 years, and basically he doesn't want her getting pregnant in case people think that she is carrying Rob's child. But she seems to be fairly safe. We may see her in the Winds of Winter. It could be an interesting character to hear from. What about Barristan Selmy? Now, Barristan Selmy is Daenerys' hand, but he's also seemingly the military leader of Meereen. Daenerys is missing. Quentin Martell has been burnt to a crisp, and now Barristan Selmy is left with to pick up the pieces, basically. The city is under siege. He has the Unsullied, to try and control. He may be called into battle any day now. And basically, what's he going to do? Barristan Selmy doesn't know what to do. He's holding down a fort on his own, but he is certainly a capable pair of hands. Let's talk about the Boltons next. Now, Roose Bolton, he is still in Winterfell, and he is getting the Freys and Ramsay Bolton to do his day work. He's not really interested in leaving. He's a little bit suspicious of Stannis and his plans. He doesn't really want to be drawn into a situation where he could be potentially killed or isolated. So, he's got Ramsay and the Freys to do his dirty work, which might come back to bite him on the bum. Now, Ramsay Bolton, as we know, is furious He has lost his reek and he has lost his bride. His fake Arya Stark, who is meant to be marrying, is gone, as is Reek. He's written an angry letter to Jon Snow at the wall, and he is demanding both back, or else he's going to come and get Jon personally. Too late for that, really, because Jon's already been got. Brynden Tully, the Blackfish. So he seemingly escaped under the portcullis of Riverrun, and we assume down the river to safety. He is now been outlawed and was being pursued by Jaime Lannister last time we saw him. Now, Walder Frey is still at the Twins, but he's so old, of course he's probably not going to leave the Twins, but his sons have been going out and doing his dirty work. He has lots and lots of troops that are being used in the North and the Riverlands to try and maintain control. Now, the issue we've got is he is in a pact, he believes, with the Manderleys, but recently 2 of his children have left White Harbour and have now gone missing, and we believe are being slain by the Brotherhood without banners. Is he to know that? Are also members of the Merman's Court slaying Freys as well on the side in retaliation for the Red Wedding? It's hard to say at this point, but I'm sure we'll see more of this in Winds of Winter. Now, Jorah Mormont, as we know, we've already spoke about Tyrion, and he is with Tyrion, trying to get, Ben Plum and his second sons to turn over to Daenerys' side. There is a siege, there is a battle coming. Can they get them to flip to Daenerys' side in time for Daenerys' return? We certainly hope so, because that will certainly help turn the tide and maybe reunite Jorah and Daenerys again. Melisandre, we're just going to quickly touch on Melisandre. She is at Castle Black. Now, she was seeing visions, and she was trying to warn Jon Snow of impending doom, things that might happen and go wrong for him, and try to warn him against taking certain actions. Unfortunately, things have not worked out well for Jon, but Melisandre is suspiciously well placed to help Jon in a potential resurrection, as we have seen with Beric Dondarrion has worked previously. Let's talk about Lord Wyman Manderly. Now, the Merman is one of the most interesting characters in the books for me. Now, he released and he freed Davos Seaworth, but he did it secretly. He actually executed someone else in his place and then let him loose with the knowledge that he believes he knows that Bran is alive and he knows where Rickon is. Now, he doesn't believe any of the lies told to him by the Freys about the Red Wedding, and he has declared that if Davos can get the message across, that he will declare for Stannis, and the Great Northern Rebellion seems to be in place. Now, Brienne of Tarth. Now, she was being hung by the Brotherhood without banners, but she was given a stay of execution by Lady Stoneheart under one condition, that she gets Jaime Lannister into the noose instead. And Brienne has now met back up with Jaime, who she is obviously in love with, but she has to sacrifice for her honour to Catelyn Stark, Lady Stoneheart, who we know she has a deep bond with, going right back to the early days in the books. This is going to be a really interesting character in Winds of Winter. We're definitely going to see more of Brienne of Tarth. Now, Samwell Tarly, he was sent to the Citadel to learn to be a Maester for the Night's Watch, because obviously Maester Aemon was very sick and he was probably going to die. So the idea was, listen, we need a new Maester. We'll send Samwell Tarly. Samwell has gone to the Citadel and divulged the information he had to the Archmaester, who has decided, do you know what? You can stay here, but I'm going to go over to Meereen and I'm going to basically be the Maester for Daenerys Targaryen and give her as much support as I can. It's clear that there are things that the Maesters know that we do not, or we do not know necessarily what they know. And it should be really interesting what's going to happen with the Maesters in the Winds of Winter. Varys. Now, the Spider, he is an interesting character indeed. He, at this point, we do presume to be a Targaryen ally. He seems to have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies, especially when it comes to Daenerys Targaryen and young Griff. He also is currently using the tunnels around the Red Keep to destabilize the Lannisters. He has killed Grand Maester Pycelle and Kevin Lannister, and he is making it look like Tyrion is still inside the Red Keep and, driving Cersei crazy, basically. Talking about driving Cersei crazy is Qyburn. Now, Qyburn has been removed from the small council, but he still controls the dungeons and he still has a network of spies. And more importantly, he seems to have figured out a way or something to do with Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, and we all believe at this point that he has created this new knight, Sir Robert Strong, who can't speak. There may be a reason for that. He may be reanimated. Qyburn's a really interesting character, and there's definitely going to be a showdown involving Qyburn in the next 2 books. Let's hope it's in Winds of Winter. Let's talk about Balon Swan. Now, he was sent by Cersei Lannister to retrieve her daughter. Now, that's not worked so well. Now, he's been set up by the Martells to take on Darkstar. Whether or not the Martells want Darkstar and Balon Swan to kill each other, or potentially for Darkstar to kill Balon Swan. Either way, I'm expecting a Balon Swan versus Darkstar showdown in the Winds of Winter. Two, really interesting characters. I love these 2 characters. This should be a really interesting showdown. Next up, Ilyn Payne. We know that the headsman is still on Arya Stark's list. Now, it has been mentioned that he is no longer the King's Justice. He was last seen in the Riverlands sparring with Jaime Lannister, who actually admitted quite a bit to Ilyn Payne, probably because he can't speak back. But yeah, we assume that Ilyn Payne is still in the Riverlands, is still a soldier in the Lannister army. But it does seem like he is definitely not trusted anymore by Cersei Lannister, and doesn't look like he is in King's Landing at least anymore. Let's finally talk about Gerald Dane, the Dark Star. So he is currently believed to be in his ancestral seat. That is the High Hermitage, his tower in Dorne. Now expecting Balon Swan, or is he expecting Balon Swan? We don't know how much information the Martells are feeding Darkstar at this point, if he is their tool or if he is on his own in this. But definitely a showdown between one of the Kingsguard and Darkstar would be an epic one-on-one duel, and I certainly am looking forward to seeing that in the Winds of Winter for sure. Now, next week, we're going to go and talk about theories. We seem to have covered most of the main characters and houses in A Song of Ice and Fire so far, but we need to talk about those all-important fan theories. Which ones do we think are going to happen? Let's discuss a little bit around what we think might happen in Winds of Winter, and hopefully in that episode you guys can put your ideas down in the comments, and then we can use that in future videos around topics that you guys want to see on the channel.